Somebody posted this pic up on Facebook a little while ago. This picture a little while ago, and I think it's a beautiful picture, man. I've seen this before, this picture, and I saved it in my hard drive. I can't find it now. I'm pretty sure it's right under my nose. But it's a beautiful thing when you see sisters in their natural state. Natural state, physically fit, beautiful natural spirit. It's a beautiful thing. I love to see sisters looking like this, and it just shows uh, how evil this country is and the effect it has on the minds, not just on our people, but all people. How today's government, today's society corrupts the minds of men, women, and children, and not just our people again. Every once in a while, someone will put a clip of Soul Train. Those of you who can remember that, or if you're up in age, used to have a show called Soul Train, and every once in a while they'll have an entertainer on there, and you'll have people dancing, and they'll do what's called the Soul Train line, and you see how physically fit the women and the men were back then. Today, the majority of our people are overweight, especially the women. I'm not saying that as an attack on the sisters. I'm just pointing out something that we need to go back to. And the family structure was somewhat intact back then, and then came feminism and the division, and here we are. This is a beautiful picture, man. What happened to us? This is more than just the curses. This is it's the curse entirely, but you get what I mean. It was a slow decline from the 60s, 70s, and 80s to where we are at now. To where we're at now is just an abomination. But I guess, things change with times. But it's nice to be around a good vibe, man. You can't beat being around a good vibe. I love being around a good vibe. Every year, I don't know if they still do it because COVID hit, but every year around the 4th of July in the downtown Brooklyn area, right off Atlantic Avenue, they have this part of the street section off by Brooklyn Academy of Music, BAM, and you have a lot of vendors out there selling African stuff, head wraps, skirts, pocketbooks. Then you have dudes selling music and CDs, if they still use that. And food, oh my god, man, the food is out of this world. And there's the thing that that caught my attention, because I've been here like twice, 2 years in a row. And the thing that caught my attention is just the vibe, man. The vibe when we're in peace and everybody's courteous and respectful, and there's music playing, and you have the so-called West Indians cooking the jerk chicken, and then you walk down a little bit to the next vendor, and that vendor, he's cooking barbecue chicken. Then you go to another vendor, and he has special smoothies that's supposed to be healthful. Then you have the natural healing remedies from the herb guys out there, and everybody's exchanging business cards and recipes and holistic solutions to their problems. Future events, you'll have future events such as poetry and so-called black awareness. It's beautiful, man. It's beautiful when we're in that spirit, and everybody, even though, I disagree with the whole African thing, but you get what I'm saying. Those of you who are spiritual, you know when to turn it off and turn it back on, or, see things with understanding. It's beautiful when brothers is courteous to each other. You don't have to know the truth to be courteous. You don't have to know the truth to be respectful. Somebody passes you by, they put their hand over their heart, they say, greetings, my brother, or hotep, or whatever the hell they into. It's beautiful when we just respect each other, and there's a real nice vibe. There's no niggly behavior. And it just makes you sad when you look at this. The scriptures talk in terms of the more knowledge you have, the more sorrow comes with that, man. And it's sad the state and positions that we are in today, man. This really sucks. This captivity sucks so bad. But again, this is a beautiful picture. And, as much as you can while we're in this captivity, try to find your way back to good health and natural as possible. I want to show you something real quick. I'm not going to be long because I got to go back to the devil. That's work. But I want to show you something. Now, some time ago, you had a lot of women complaining about fibroids and different ailments, some even cancerous. And a lot of this can be linked to processed foods and how you do your hair. Vanity is a hell of a thing because people are always looking for a quick fix on how to undo the negatives that they have put on their bodies for years, man. And it doesn't work that way, I know a sister, she used to have bad cramps during her menstrual cycle. And I always suggested that, why don't you try natural herbs? Why don't you try natural herbs? And she would be in excruciating pain and would complain about it. Even talked about they should have special cases about it. In other words, the government should do something about it. And I looked at it like she was insane. But I suggested that she tried natural medicine, and she refused to hear that. And in my opinion, you can't go wrong when you go natural. And I'm not saying I'm a health guru. I eat pizza and chicken and crap sometimes too, but I'm aware of when I overdo it and I snap out of it at some point. But it's a very weird article, man. Look, I mean, it makes you think. I used to go out with this sister one time, and she used to have these bad breakouts on her face, and we went to the health food store, and the lady behind the counter took one look at her. Didn't take long. She said, "You have too much sugar in your diet." And then I started doing some research on it, and they said that skin heals from the inside out, not outside in. So you can scrub and wash every day. If you're not eating properly or your insides is dirty, it's going to move from the inside of your face to the outside, and it's going to show. I told this sister that for years, but the discipline it takes to eat properly and to avoid sugars and starches and fried foods is very tough, man. It's very tough to resist the urge to eat dirty. I struggle with it. And I understand you sisters who are overweight and what you're going through. I understand, but at some point, you're going to have to admit to yourselves that you're weak and find some help, especially with this hair situation. It says a toxic chemical used in hair products for black women can fuel breast cancer studies find. This was written in June 13th, 2022. I believe this. I believe a lot of the processed foods we eat, that contributes to certain ailments and cancer. I believe, and this is a long shot, that's just my belief, I believe they put stuff in the food that keep us addicted to the food and keeps us coming back, including our children. That's what I personally believe. They'll do anything for a buck, to make a buck. A new study finds beauty products containing toxic chemicals can adversely impact cancer cells in black women. Beauty products with parabens can adversely impact cancer cells in black women, a new study finds. Parabens are a group of chemicals that, let me turn off my phone. Chemicals that keep mold and bacteria from growing in beauty products. Wow. This is what you're putting in your head that goes through your pores into your scalp, possibly into your brain or throughout your body. This is crazy. The study will be presented at the Endocrine Society's annual meeting in Atlanta on Saturday. Hair care and beauty products marketed to black women often contain a class of hormone disrupting chemicals called parabens. According to a new study, those chemicals are not only linked to increased breast cancer risk, they can uniquely fuel the spread of cancer cells in black women compared to white women, because white women don't perm their hair like black women, man. This is sad, man. This is sad because the evidence has been out there for years. This is not the first time I'm reading something like this. I've been reading stuff like this since the 80s. And I'm willing to bet that what women are doing to themselves today and how it's affecting them today is completely different than what they did in the 80s. I guarantee you it wasn't this bad in the 70s and 80s. I guarantee you. I'm not saying it didn't exist, but I don't believe it was that bad. I don't. I believe at some point everybody, or for the most part, the majority of people look like this. And they were less open to cancer or certain poisons that the devil gives us today, including the food. I'm sure people ate a lot better in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and even in mid-90s. I'll even throw that out to a certain degree. I'm not even sure about the 90s. I think everything went downhill, in my opinion, from 85 on. But this is quite messed up. It's sad and it's scary that you would do this to yourself. You see those Facebook videos with the lace fronts, how you can see the women's scalps actually tearing from their head. You see the pink meat because of the crap they put on their heads. Pride is a hell of a thing. I mentioned this many times before. Pride is a hell of a thing. It's a hell of a thing. Paraben are a group of chemicals that keep mold and bacteria from growing in beauty products in order to prolong their shelf lives. You see, who's making the money from these things? To prolong their shelf lives. But in humans, parabens can mimic the hormone estrogen, possibly fueling dangerous cell growth, according to research. The study, which was conducted by City of Hope and will be presented today at the Endocrine Society annual meeting in Atlanta. So apparently they're having something in Atlanta. Paraben also increase the expression of genes linked to breast cancer in the breast cancer cells from both black and white women. This is sad. You know, I've seen people who've had cancer, man. You know, I pray the Most High don't put that on me, man, or you brothers and sisters, because it's nothing to play with. It's nothing to take lightly. It's very serious. Black women are more likely to buy and use hair products with these types of chemicals, but we do not have a lot of data about how parabens may increase breast cancer risk in black women. Lindsay S. Trevino, the study's lead researcher, said in a press release, this is because black women have not been picked to take part in most research studies looking at this link. Also, studies to test this link have only used breast cancer cell lines from white women. I mean, he's making it vague, but you're a fool if you don't think that stuff is having an effect on you. If the food is having an effect on you, you know that's definitely having an effect on you. I mean, you know, you play at your own risk, but it's very foolish not to consider that they poisoning us every day just to make a buck. It's very foolish. And you know, just the food alone can be linked to cancer and diabetes and high blood pressure and who knows what else. Who knows what else? Look at it this way, and I mentioned it on a live feed not too long ago. The food we eat today, the stuff we drink today, is by far different than what our forefathers and foremothers drank in times past. You heard what he just said, or what we just read. To preserve the life of those products on the shelf, they put certain chemicals in them to make a buck. You think they don't do the same thing with food? You think they don't do the same thing with what you drink? They don't give two SHs about you, sisters. And you must don't give two SHs about yourselves if you continue to destroy yourselves and your children that you bear and bring forth in this world. Again, I'm no health guru, but you know, I know when to pump the brakes. That's all I'm saying. And you know, consider your surroundings. Consider that this is an evil world. Consider that this is not your rest. And consider that you could have a beautiful life and serve the Most High at the same time if you just change a few things. Hey, but that's just me. I guess that's just me. Just something on my mind. I'm out.